Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell disease, it is a common hereditary hemoglobinopathy which is caused by a point mutation in a beta globin that promote the polymerization of deoxygenated hemoglobin. Sickle cell disease, it is caused by a point mutation in the sixth codon of a beta globin that leads to the replacement of
This
glutamate
picture shows
residue
a
with
normal
a
RNA
residue.
in which glutamate
The
is normally
abnormal
present.
physiochemical properties
However,
in sickle cell anemia
of
this
the resulting
glutamate is
sickle hemoglobin,
it
they are
is replaced
responsible
by
for the
valine
disease.
at the sixth codon, and it results in a synthesis of a mutant protein. There are two conditions. They are either heterozygous or homozygous. In heterozygous, one gene is normal and one is mutant, and it results in asymptomatic condition which is known as sickle cell trait. And the homozygous condition in which both the genes they are mutant, they usually are inherited from the two heterozygote parent, and when both the genes they are defected, this state it produces symptomatic sickle cell disease. In such individual, almost all the hemoglobin in the red blood cell is sickle hemoglobin, whose molecular structure is alpha 2 beta sickle 2. The major pathological manifestation it results from the tendency of sickle hemoglobin molecules to stag into polymers when deoxygenated. Initially, this process it converts the red cell cytosol from freely flowing liquid into a jelly-like visc material. With the continued deoxygenation, sickle hemoglobin molecule they assemble into long needle-like fibers within the red blood cells, which damages the red blood cells, and they produce a distorted sickle or holy leaf shape. There are several factors which promote sickling, such as interaction with the other types of hemoglobin, intracellular pH, transit time through microvasculature, and MCHC. Now we will see them one by one. First, there is the interaction of sickle hemoglobin with other type of hemoglobin. We will discuss three types of hemoglobin in this. One is adult hemoglobin, fetal hemoglobin, and hemoglobin C. Adult hemoglobin, when in heterozygotes with the sickle cell trait, 40% of the hemoglobin is sickle hemoglobin and the rest is hemoglobin A. This hemoglobin A it interferes with the hemoglobin S polymerization. As a result, red cell in heterozygous individuals do not sickle except under conditions of profound hypoxia. The adult hemoglobin it prevents the polymerization of sickle hemoglobin. The second is fetal hemoglobin. Fetal hemoglobin it also inhibits the polymerization of sickle hemoglobin even more than hemoglobin A. Hence, the infants they do not become symptomatic until they reach 5 to 6 months of age. After 5 to 6 months of age, when fetal hemoglobin levels falls, hemoglobin A levels they start increasing and the patient they become symptomatic. However, in some individuals, the fetal hemoglobin it persists even after 5 to 6 months of age. In this condition, it is known as hereditary persistence of hemoglobin F. In this individual, sickle cell disease is much less severe. Another variant of hemoglobin is hemoglobin C. Hemoglobin C it also result as point mutation. It is common. Hemoglobin C it is also common in a region where hemoglobin S is found. 2 to 3% of the American blacks they are heterozygotes, which means one gene is normal and one is defective, and 1 in 1250 they are compound, which means one gene they contain sickle hemoglobin and the other gene it contain hemoglobin C mutation. In hemoglobin SC red cells, in red cells containing hemoglobin SC heterozygote state, the percentage of hemoglobin S is 50%, which is 10% more than we see in traits. One one, we have seen that the sickle hemoglobin concentration it is high. Secondly, compound heterozygotes, they tend to lose salt and water and they become dehydrated. When the cells they become dehydrated, the hemoglobin, the defective hemoglobin concentration, it increases inside the red blood cells. Both of these factors they increases the tendency of sickle hemoglobin to polymerize. As a result, individuals who are compound heterozygotes for sickle hemoglobin and hemoglobin C, they have a symptomatic sickling disorder, which is termed hemoglobin SC disease, but it is milder than the sickle cell disease. The second factor is mean cell hemoglobin concentration, or MCHC. Higher hemoglobin S concentration they increases the probability that aggregation and polymerization will occur during any given period of deoxygenation. Thus, intracellular dehydration, which will increase the MCHC, they will facilitate sickling. Conversely, the conditions that decreases MCHC, they will reduce the disease severity. This will occur in the individual who have a defective hemoglobin S as well as alpha thalassemia. They will reduce the hemoglobin synthesis and lead to milder disease. Sickle hemoglobin they affect the beta chain, and the alpha thalassemia they affect the alpha chains. As both the alpha and the beta chain they are defective, the total hemoglobin synthesis it is also reduced, and it will lead to milder disease. Intracellular pH. A decrease in the pH it reduces the oxygen affinity of the hemoglobin, thereby increasing the fraction of deoxygenated hemoglobin S at any given oxygen tension and augment the tendency of sickling. The intracellular pH it usually falls in conditions of intracellular infections. The pathogens they consume oxygen and carbon dioxide it accumulates in the cell. This carbon dioxide it has an acidic tendency and it will reduce the pH. Transit time of red blood cells through microvascular beds. Much of the pathology of sickle cell disease it is related to the vascular occlusion, which is caused by sickling within the microvascular blood. Transit time in most normal microvascular beds they are too short for significant aggregation of deoxygenated sickle cell to occur, and as a result sickling is confined to microvascular beds with a slow transit time. As the transit time or the passage time through the microvascular bed they increases, there is more time that the oxygen is dumped, and the deoxygenated states they promote sickling. Blood flow it is sluggish in the normal spleen and bone marrow, and these two organs they are most commonly affected in sickle cell disease and also in vascular beds that are inflamed. How inflammation they affect the movement of blood through inflamed tissue, because these inflammation and the adhesion in inflammation, the adhesion of leukocytes to activated endothelial cells increases, and also there is a transudation of fluid through leaky vessels. As a result, inflamed vascular beds they are prone to sickling and occlusion. The two most common or important factors in the pathogenesis are extravascular hemolysis and microvascular occlusion. First, we will see extravascular hemolysis. As the sickle hemoglobin polymers they grow, they herniate through the membrane skeleton and they project from the cell, which have only one lipid bilayer. When the membrane it is disturbed, it will cause the influx of calcium. When the calcium it enters the cell, it causes the cross-linking of membrane protein, and it will activate the ion channels that will permit the efflux of potassium and water. With the repeated episodes of sickling, red cell become increasingly dehydrated, dense and rigid. So when the membrane it is disturbed or triggered, calcium will enter the cell and it will activate the ion channels, which will cause the efflux of potassium and water. Eventually, the most severely damaged cells they are converted to end-stage, non-deformable, irreversibly sickled cells, which retain a sickle shape even with the when fully oxygenated. The severity of extravascular or intravascular hemolysis it will correlate with the percentage of irreversibly sickled cell. These irreversibly sickled cells they are rapidly sequestered and they are removed by mononuclear phagocytes. As these cells they are deformed and they are non-elastic, they are entrapped inside the splenic sinuses, and as a result they are phagocytosed. Sickle red cells they are also mechanically fragile and they will destroy themselves within the vessels, so we will see some intravascular hemolysis as well. The second and a very important phenomena is microvascular occlusion. And most of the complication and clinical manifestation we see in sickle cell anemia they are usually result of microvascular occlusion. Microvascular occlusion they depend upon the more subtle red cell membrane damage and local factors. Local factors they include inflammation or vasoconstriction. The inflammation and vasoconstriction they both will slow or they will arrest the movement of red cell through microvascular bed. Sickle cell they have a higher level of adhesion molecules and they are sticky, and the mediators which are released from the granulocyte as a result of inflammation they will upregulate the expression of adhesion molecules on the endothelial cells as well. At the adhesion molecules they are present both on the red blood cells as well as on the vessel wall. They will clump together and they will hamper the transport of blood through vessels. Second is the depletion of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide it causes the vasodilation and it inhibits the aggregation inhibit the aggregation of platelets. As a result of intravascular hemolysis the free hemoglobin it is released and it will inhibit it will bind and it will inactivate the nitric oxide. As a result there will be vasoconstriction and it will also enhance the platelet aggregation. It will contribute to red cell stasis, sickling, and in some instances thrombosis. Now we will see the effects of microvascular occlusion. The first one is vaso-occlusive crisis. Vaso-occlusive crisis it is also called the pain crisis. As a result of hypoxia and infarction, the mediators they are released and they will cause the pain in the affected region. Infections, dehydration and acidosis they most commonly they act as a trigger, but in some instances there are no predisposing factors. The most commonly involved site in a vaso-occlusive crisis are bones, lungs, liver, brain, spleen and penis. In children the painful bone crisis they are extremely common and they are often difficult to distinguish from acute osteomyelitis. They most frequently manifest as a hand-foot syndrome or dactylitis of the bones of the hand or feet or both. This picture shows a hand of a child with sickle cell anemia. In dactylitis, the growing plate of short in dactylitis, the growing plates of the short bones of the hand they are involved. They are inflamed, and as a result, there is growth impairment. The second effect is acute chest syndrome, and when the vaso-occlusive crisis they involve the lungs, it will present as acute chest syndrome with the symptoms of fever, cough, chest pain, and pulmonary infiltrate. Pulmonary inflammation they may cause blood flow to become sluggish and spleen-like, leading to sickling and vaso-occlusion. As a result of vaso-occlusion, there is hypoxemia, This hypoxemia, it will lead to sickling and the vicious cycle it goes on. Sequestration crisis. It occurs in the children with intact spleen. Massive entrapment of sickle red cell lead to rapid splenic enlargement, hypovolemia and sometimes choke. Both sequestration crisis and acute chest syndrome, they are fatal and they sometimes require prompt treatment with exchange transfusion. Aplastic crisis. It results from the infection of red cell progenitors by parvovirus B19. It causes a transient cessation of erythropoiesis and sudden worsening of anemia. Increased susceptibility to infections with encapsulated organism, it is another threat. In sickle cell anemia, there are two factors that increases the susceptibility. One is the altered splenic function and the second one is alternative complement pathway. As the complement pathway, it opsonizes the bacteria and as a result they are phagocytosed inside the spleen. But both the components, they are defective, so the bacteria, they survive inside the body. The most common bacteria are Pneumococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza. They are common in children, but they can be reduced by vaccination and prophylactic antibiotics. So in patients with the defective splenic function, it is important to vaccinate the patient against Pneumococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza. Autosplenectomy. In early childhood, the spleen is enlarged up to 500 grams by red pulp congestion, and it is caused by trapping of sickled red cells in the cord and sinuses. With time, however, the chronic erythrostasis, it will lead to splenic infarction, fibrosis and progressive shrinkage, so that by the adult age, very small fibrous splenic tissue is left, and this process is called autosplenectomy. This is a normal spleen, and this is a spleen which is present in the patient of sickle cell anemia. In adult patient, vascular stagnation in subcutaneous tissue, they often lead to leg ulcers. This complication is rare in children. Other complications are priapism, which affects up to 45% of male after puberty, and it will lead to hypoxic damage and erectile dysfunction. Microvascular occlusion, when it occurs in the brain, it will lead to stroke, and the retinopathy, it will lead to loss of visual acuity and even blindness. When the growth plates, they are involved, it will lead to the impairment of growth and development. Similarly, medulla of the renal medulla, it is also damaged, and it will cause hyposthenuria, which is the inability to concentrate urine. Now the quick overview of effects of vasoocclusion. When it will affect the bone of hand and feet in infants, it will cause the dactylitis. And when it will affect the other long bones, it will cause pain crisis and avascular necrosis. And when the vasoocclusion, it involves the spleen, there is infarction and splenic sequestration. When it will affect the vasculature of penis, it will cause priapism. Renal papilla leading to necrosis will cause hyposthenuria. And when the blood vessels of the lung, they are involved, it will cause acute chest syndrome. And cerebral vasculature will cause stroke and moya moya. Moya moya, it is a Latin word which means puff of a smoke. When micro vessels they are occluded, there is the development of collateral vessels, and it will give appearance of puff of a smoke. Diagnosis: the CBC will show the hemoglobin around 60 to 90 grams per liter. Peripheral film will show sickle cell and target cell, and it occur in the peripheral blood. Features of splenic atrophy, which are the Howell-Jovel bodies, they may be also be present. Howell-Jovel bodies, they are the red blood cells which contain the remnants of DNA or RNA. They are normally removed by spleen, but as a result of autosplenectomy, these cells they are not destroyed and they circulate freely in the blood. Reticulocyte count is raised as a result of hemolysis. Bone marrow is hyperplastic as a result of compensatory erythroid hyperplasia. The increased breakdown of hemoglobin, it will cause pigment gallstones and hyperbilirubinemia. Skull x-rays, there will be expansion of the marrows leading to resorption and secondary bone formation. As a result, there will be prominent cheekbones and the changes in the skull that will resemble a crew cut on x-ray studies. Screening test, these involve mixing of a blood sample with an oxygen consuming reagent such as metabisulfite. It will induce sickling of the red cell if sickle hemoglobin is present. High performance liquid chromatography or hemoglobin electrophoresis. In sickle cell anemia, in which both the genes are defective, no hemoglobin A is detected. The amount of fetal hemoglobin, it is variable and is usually around 5 to 15%. Larger amount, they are associated with milder disorders. Prenatal diagnosis is possible by analysis of fetal DNA, which is obtained by amniocentesis or chorionic biopsy. This is a picture of sickle cell anemia. The sickle cell, they will appear in the peripheral film in this form, which are elongated lean cells. This one, and this one. Treatment. A mainstay of treatment, it is an inhibitor of DNA synthesis. The drug is known as hydroxyurea. It has a several beneficial effect. First, it will increase in the red cell fetal hemoglobin levels, and the second one is anti-inflammatory effect. These activities, they are believed to act in concert to decrease crisis related to vascular occlusion in both children and adults. Hematopoietic stem cell transplantation offers a chance at cure, and it is increasingly being explored as a therapeutic option.